Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. We're back here, American Truck Simulator, working with the Extreme Economy mod. And last we were in Uvalde. Only a couple long trips out of here available, so not going to once again head into New Mexico. So I'm going to take this job up to Childress, and hopefully we'll get something a little bit shorter there. Alright, so get the lights turned on. Just take a quick walk around, make sure everything looks good. Old International. Got these insulation panels on a step deck flatbed. So get through here, a little tight around that pole. But we are ready to go. So let's see. That's the fuel economy, speedometer. Alright, that's trip 1. I think we're good there. We've obviously got a GPS mounted to the window. That will work. So that'll be good. Just trying to get myself set here in my eye tracker. And again, we've got 423 miles, so quite a bit longer than the base distance the Extreme Edition used to have, that I'm still kind of trying to utilize. So we'll see what we can do there. So I'm gonna probably have to make some sort of a decision. We are, getting close, and this is obviously going to get us a good significant part of the way closer again, because I'm sure we're going to get 600 or so XP all told when we're done, as given how far we're going. Leona River is what we're crossing there. Got a good amount of fuel. But yeah, 400, this is going to be a later... it's going to be a late night delivery, I'm sure. Oh, come on already, people. I've got turn signals on. What are you doing? You guys are awful.
Keep right, and then turn right.
Oh, come on now. Really? You couldn't have told me earlier. Okay, well... guess we'll see. We'll get to listen to that the whole time now. Sorry about that, but if I don't turn it on, then I'm probably going to get stuck at the light again. I may still get stuck at the light. But, yeah, if you're just joining on to the series, haven't watched, been using the GDC Logistics Extreme edition of the economy, and there's 3 versions available. This is the most extreme version, and basically is supposed to simulate just a really, really long trucking career with very, very slow progress and things like that. So, it used the base mileage in the game, and then due to a vote, it has been changed in the last, I don't know, 3-4 weeks to basically include the ability to expand the distance. So it took the distance up to, I think, 600 miles from, I believe it was 250. So, significant difference, and I just would like to honor the older distances, because I thought it fit really well with how things would work as far as trucking and so forth. And I've been doing that when I can. Obviously, in a case like this where I whoops, then we take a job, and we deal with it, but I'd say at least half of the things that have come up I've been able to honor something closer to 250, 300. And even so, we're on, what, episode 23, I think? So this is just the 23rd haul, and I'm already at 10,000, because the parking XP always bumps things up and so forth. So there is always that increase that gives you like a 50% boost or a 25% boost. It's actually less of a boost the longer things go, because you know, parking will be, say, 90 if it's complicated, 40 if it's easier, and if I'm getting, you know, 600 XP or something, 90's only going to be like a sixth of that, where if I'm getting closer to like 300 XP or 200 XP, 90's a big bump. So I think initially just base calculations were it's going to take like 150 jobs, and I just haven't seen that. And some of it is certainly, yes, we've gone a little bit longer, but it would still be about the same amount of mileage, and I think we're going to hit it significantly faster than, say, 75 hauls. So, you know, and that's been part of it. But the reason then I'm trying to figure out what to do is because it's offering such large jobs, and you know, the next bump up I think would be 400, if I'm correct. I think it would be 400 miles is what would have happened in game, and so I'm already exceeding that now, and if I bump it up, it goes to like 900 or something, and so that's would just make the problem worse. So I don't think I was likely to put my points, my skill point that I'll get, to distance anyway, because I was happy with the short distance. I was just going to look for more variation of jobs by going ahead and putting a skill point to, say, high value or you know, urgent, time-based or something like that. So I was likely going to do that anyway, and now there's even more incentive, I think, to do that. So but you know, because increasing it, like if I just played it in the background, it would be like, okay, well, that'll get me there, and then I could go to 400, but the problem will be because it increases to 900, I'm still probably going to be getting jobs that exceed 400. I'm going to be getting, because the slider only goes to 50% as the preference, and so I'd be at 450 as my minimum to begin with, and then things would go from there. And so I'm sure I'd be seeing 500, 600 as the standard, if not higher. So I've got to get used to this. I haven't driven with the air brake and all that. We also have the realistic physics mod running here. So I think I do. I didn't double check that I had loaded that in here, but I'm pretty sure I put it in this profile. And that is also from GDC, which is supposed to make all of this much more realistic. I don't see that big of a problem. You just definitely need to pay more attention, as you would with a real trucker, knowing that you've got a lot of weight behind you, and so you can't stop on a dime. So like when you're coming into town like that, you almost have to be prepared that a light's going to be turning red or be red. So you just need to be more aware and more careful. But then the challenge also becomes, with rain, it gets pretty bad. And right now, in this time of year, we're getting a good bit of rain. So it's nearly set to 50%. So as you might expect, every 2-3 episodes it starts raining, and then it rains for 1 or 2 episodes and goes back. I thought he was parked. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. But he's not. He's just really, really slow. Alright, so hopefully folks will be nice and let us in. Looks like they are.
Keep left.
Who hit me? Who? Why? Why is that car there? Why was that car there? I was merging into the lane. Look, that car just jumped right over again. Yeah, there was nobody in my lane. I was perfectly fine, and then some bozo comes over and hits me. Just annoying. Yeah, sadly, I came across someone's video. I don't even remember who it was, because it's not one I would necessarily recommend anyway, because I was disappointed with the result, because it said, you know, I think 5 mods, or maybe it wasn't limited. It was just, these are the mods they use for realism, and they just weren't. I don't know how else to say it. They were just things like preferences they liked. It was like, oh, you know, I like this kind of car, and then they had like, you know, they seemed to be a Grand Theft Auto fan, so they had all these. I thought it said turn left. Did it not? Did not. Okay. So
keep left. And then turn left.
Alright, well, we're just gonna turn around.
Turn left.
Because I guess I was supposed to go the other way, so. Alright, will that work? Yes, okay. So, I know people wouldn't be happy, but nobody was coming. It was nice and quiet. It worked. So yes, I was just irritated in general with the traffic and all of that. So yeah, and part of it was they were talking about like traffic mods and whatever, and they had introduced things that were like brutal traffic and whatever, and then they're talking about how, yeah, you're like in traffic jams and it adds hours to your haul. I mean, I get that once in a while, but that being the norm and like all over the place, and then once again, instead of, oh, I'm just adding cars, it's like, oh, we're gonna add all these Grand Theft Auto cars in and these other fictional vehicle types. So it's like, where's the realism? So I don't know. I mean, and it's fine if they enjoy that, but to me it was a very misleading video, because there was almost nothing that was realistic about what they were doing. Because it is challenging to find realistic mods, you know, mainly because people don't want that. They're simming and they just want to play around and whatever. So you have things like what that individual was recommending, but I try to be more honest and upfront with what I'm doing, especially if I'm doing a review or whatever. I mean, I will say I don't like something or whatever. I think there's a trend all the time to just present it and be like, and not just share your opinion. Like, here's this mod, here's what it does, and then you decide if you want to use it. I mean, people can still decide if they want to use it, but I would think some people are going to want to watch and hear what my opinion is and why. And that's the thing. I don't just say, oh, this mod stinks, or, oh, this mod is great. and that's it, and then you don't know what my criteria are. Like, I will usually, in anything you see on the channel, when I've done that in the past, so you can certainly go back and look, I'll be like, yeah, I don't like it because of whatever. Like, the most recent things are the Tower Companion challenges, and I'm not giving 5 stars to almost anything, because the main criteria I have is the challenge needs to actually be possible. And so just throwing out something with, say, 500 flights in an hour in an airport, which is an extreme example that I haven't come across, but there have certainly been plenty where, okay, they clearly haven't played it because half of the flights haven't even spawned. And it's, you know, to me, that's a design flaw and so forth. And so similarly, I found very few mods that like to say they're realistic, that aren't either just really superficial changes where they've just modified, you know, certain settings that if you wanted to manually modify them in the INI files or the CFG files and things like that, that you could just do it yourself if you knew how to use a text editor and what the variable was. I think that's what a lot of the mods do, and I get that there may be a limitation in what the game engine allows you to do, but it is what it is. So anyway, so I was hoping to find, maybe I'll find something that might be of interest to add into these series. No, I did not. So the other big news since that has come out, obviously prior to me recording this, so that I've seen it, is they do have a date for Louisiana, and as I figured, yes, it's coming, I think, December 2nd. So, but once again, because of all the map mods we have, we're not going to be able to bring it into this anytime soon. I could use it in my Back to Basics, and probably will, but, you know, so at least with ATS, like, as maps come out, there's a possibility it'll show up on the channel quickly. But for ETS, that's not going to happen, because my only series is the Extreme Economy Edition, and it has a lot of maps, significantly more maps over there. So Nordic Horizons is actually coming out this week. Actually may have come out already by the time this video posts, although I don't think that's accurate. I think it'll be the same day, because I think the 26th of November is when I flip back to ATS, but that would be a Back to Basics episode, and so then the 27th of November would be this episode, and that's the day it's coming out. So by the time this is posted late in mid-afternoon, I'm sure it will be released. So if you're looking for it, you can go ahead and get it at that point. But yeah, it won't be making a debut on the channel for some time, just like it took us a while to get Grease going, because by the time just Pro Mods even integrated with it, it was 9 months or something. So it could be a long time before we see Nordic Horizons appear. But Louisiana will be there for one of the pieces. It did say keep left. I heard it this time, and it's not saying recalculating, so I should be okay. So while I'm thinking of it, because I am terrible at doing it when I should in the center here, or close to the center, if you have not liked or subscribed, please consider doing that. It's the only request you'll get from me. Really important as we try to grow and build some community here.
Go straight.
So I'm seeing a lot of comments on the golf videos and these trucking videos, so there are people discovering this these Extreme Edition series. Comments have been overwhelmingly positive, which is great. You know, people are either doing their own version and just following along with what I'm doing as well, or have not heard of this add-on at all and are checking out the series just to understand what it does. I will say, though, that, you know, a lot of what it does until I own a truck is not available, which is what I think has driven a lot of the give us longer distances, because people are like, well, till I get a truck, the mod's just keeping the prices of jobs depressed, but all the other features it has you can't do with quick jobs. So I get a little bit of, hey, I want to get to that point. I want to get to that point too, but I also enjoy the fact that getting to that point is going to be earned, and I'm okay with that, with working hard to earn it. So that's where things stand with that. But yeah, the sun's starting to set, 6:20. Sure, within the next hour, it'll be pretty dark by the time we get to 7:30. So we shall see how that all plays out. But yeah, these episodes, I'm trying to get them done. So if I'm successful, you won't have a break. You'll have 3 ATS videos kind of over the Thanksgiving holiday weekend and stuff like that, so that the trucking stuff will continue moving on. But if somehow I run out of time or I'm unable to do all of them, you know, then you won't see them, because basically it should be the 27th, 28th, and 29th of November, I think. And then on the 30th, we go back to ETS, and, you know, I also need to get those done, so hopefully I have enough time, because we're about a little over a day away from being gone for nearly a week. So it's been a bit of a cram session to frankly try to get at least the key items in. So I think I've done enough Tower Companion the last week, because I hadn't done that for quite some time. So once I got in there, I was really enjoying it and just kind of kept doing things. I think I got 4 more episodes done, 4 more challenges that I tried. So that'll be the other material that you see, because I just don't have time to do much of anything else right now. Time is short, so I'm trying to now get done what I need to, per se, to keep the kind of staples of the channel moving. And then the other ones where I rotate between different things, I just haven't had time to dabble in things. I still also need to get my VFR flight done. I'd love to do that, but thinking that's going to be a tomorrow thing. And then, you know, again, everything has to go right, and yeah, just a lot. So we'll see. But that's why I decided, I'm like, well, let me get the trucking episodes done, and then if I've got a fight with anything else, if it doesn't get done, it's a little less central. You know, and part of why this has become more central to the channel again is with the Extreme Edition. The name of the game is run loads, get your experience up. So that just requires time and requires me doing as much as I can, and so it's become a daily video. Or at least as much of an attempt to do that as I can. Oh man, cars here are just Oh yeah, now you're gonna
Left.
slow down for me. You are just awful. You guys are all awful AI cars. Because I was part of it in that realism video. He talked about things that changed the AI, but they were things that to me made it worse. Because they talked about like some chaotic driving thing or whatever, and he's like, "Oh yeah, they're gonna run into you all the time," and like, what's realistic about that? I get that there are some really ridiculous drivers who don't give trucks respect and all that, but to load into your game a mod that basically makes all the traffic behave that way, for the most part, just makes it all more aggressive, I don't buy into that as realistic or fun. So yeah, I was disappointed. And it also just kind of reinforces that more than likely there really aren't any great realism mods out there. It's just kind of
Go straight.
really weak attempts to try to do things that, I get are probably not really possible in the engine. Now, the one thing I am intrigued about, I did also, and this is on the Euro Truck side, I'll mention it here because I think a lot of the folks watch both these series. They look at the ATS stuff and the ETS2 stuff, which would make sense. I mean, I do both, and I think a lot of people do both or are interested in both. But they're going to have, here they're going to have road trip. In Europe, I think they're going to have coaches, which is the buses. But as I read some things that they just posted, I think this morning, they don't have anything about when it's coming out. They said there's a lot of work left to be done, so I know it's not going to be in 2025. It may, knowing how the pace SCS is able to work at, may not even come out in 2026, which is fine. But basically you're going to be picking up people, and there's going to be passenger satisfaction as you drive between stops, so you're going to have to drive in a comfortable way for your passengers, which certainly is not something I think about with just insulation panels on my back trailer, like, oh, I need to not make it bumpy or make a hard turn or something. Like, the panels aren't going to issue me a complaint, but a human might in a bus who is not enjoying aggressive driving, which obviously means I would have to change the driving style. But they're introducing that coaches thing, and yes, it will be a DLC is what they're saying. So where I think, although no, road trip might be an add-on as well, because I was going to say I think road trip's just getting added in. I don't know why I slowed down that much. I just wanted to make sure it didn't suddenly tell me to turn, and then I'm
Right.
keep right. Okay, meaning don't turn left, or it's just very odd. So I'm like, is there some invisible thing that I'm not seeing? All right, we're getting down to 68. But yeah, to wrap up the coaches thing, I tried Bus Simulator a while back, and it was just, it was really cumbersome to use. And so I kind of lost interest because I was fighting the mechanics more than enjoying the sim. And so it's basically doing what Bus Simulator did, but within the truck sim environment, where you are going to go between stops and passengers are going to get on and off, and they're talking about some expanded capabilities later in the future. So to me, what I'm hoping is that what we'll have in the implementation of the coaches DLC will be the bus simulator that we wished we had in Bus Simulator, because it's already going to have all the roadways and all these giant maps that we can go to. And, clearly they have a decent engine, but the more important thing is they did reference, for example, that, like, passengers aren't going to give you a better rating or have improved satisfaction because you properly use your turn signals. They're trying to make it like things that a real world passenger would notice, and their satisfaction would improve. So it's not just gimmicky things like, oh, you're doing a bunch of things on a checklist properly. It's things that people would really get upset about or really be happy about. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it will be intriguing, and again, that will likely turn into just its own series, obviously, because you're going to be using it differently. But they did say part of the challenge is, yes, you're trying to build this into a sim engine that is built around trucking. And so they said it's becoming, or has introduced some challenges. The good news is they're trying to work through it, and I think it's a wonderful way to expand and build the audience. Because once again, you might have people who come in from something like Bus Simulator and are like, oh, is this one better? And then suddenly fall in love with the maps and everything and are like, yeah, I'll give trucking a try. And so it may bring more people into the game, and vice versa. There might be people who are like, been doing a lot of trucks for years and years. I'd love to drive something different. And now we have buses, or now we have cars and road trip. And
Go straight.
all right, so 19 miles, so we got to be close here. Again, we've been to this town, so you can see Childress is lit up already. Alright, so it's actually 50. So we'll let it drift this way down.
Get ready to turn left.
Alright, turn left. I'm assuming at this intersection. But at least it gave me enough,
and then keep left.
gave me enough warning this time that I don't feel like I was rushed or
and then turn left.
had to do something, so.
Turn left.
Okay, I'm standing here. Is it gonna beep here too? Of course, okay. No. Sadly, we're gonna have to wait through the whole light cycle here. Yeah, but the other thing is, because I've talked about, like, if I keep having long runs like this, because this is, likely gonna be pushing over the 30, to 45 minutes, as what it is, like, I then can do less of those in a shorter period of time. So part of why I started, like, well, I'll have an episode every afternoon, so you're basically getting 3 videos a day instead of just golf and something else. You're getting the golf, the something else, and a trucking video then in the afternoon. But, so, like, in the situation I'm in now, getting 3 jobs done gets more difficult if suddenly I'm spending 45 minutes to an hour on a job, because trying to find 3 hours every 4 days at least to have stuff. That's why I initially said, yeah, I'll do that, and that way if I just want to drive, I'm not building up this massive backlog. But I'm now finding the opposite. Like, I can record and get these out to you pretty simply because I don't do a ton of editing on them, and just put in some chapter breaks. And seriously, so I'm gonna have to go to the way station, even though it looks like it's even further. Where is this thing? I have to go there?
You have arrived at your destination.
I don't get it. Oh, I'm here? Right. Did I miss it? Oh, it's literally right there. Okay. In theory, it's here somewhere. That's interesting. So I guess this is a construction site. Now where? Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I guess we'll just move around. And try to get her. So it's almost like I've been here before, though, because it isn't giving me any... You know, it was discovered on the map, I think, before I got here, but maybe I'm crazy. Alright, let me see. Am I remotely in there? Yeah, okay. I just need to definitely be more aggressive in the turn. So I think I've got plenty of room. Alright, so now I went a little too far. So we'll straighten this out. Now I need to go, I think, the other way. Whoops. That would be the other way. To get myself in. So yeah, the beam tracker thing's supposed to be updated at some point, and in theory is less jerky, so I'm hoping that'll smooth out doing this perspective here. Because A, it's very awkward trying to do it. I basically like looking out of the corner of my eye because my head's turned like 45 degrees to do this. Man, where... I gotta look. I'm like, where are we going? Okay, well, it's not too far off. So, but I'm gonna... I think the right thing to do will be to pull forward and then kind of fix it. So, we're gonna want to go here and get in there a little bit, and then hopefully, there we go. Now I can see the lines, and then we can position ourselves a little bit better. I'm thinking this is just going to be a simple parking job. It's just going to be 40 XP. So we're not going to get that much of a bonus, but we'll see how everything else comes together. Alright, there we go. So let's get out and get ourselves unloaded. So again, very few daytime hours just because of how long things take. But again, we left at 1 p.m. It took us 10 hours to run this load, so... And as I said, 6... Why do I get no parking bonus? That is interesting. Wonder, because it's like some add-on parking, it just like didn't know how to flag it, or it doesn't even know I parked. That doesn't make any sense, because obviously it knows I ended. But we're almost at 4,500 in the profit for 7 days. So we'll see how all of that works as we get closer. But yeah, we're getting within the distance here of pretty soon upgrading to level 1. So 70%, maybe probably at least 65% of the way there. And I will see you next time.